you're not just fighting a political fight. We're now in the fight for our life and for our existence. God said his people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, not because he doesn't tell them what's going to happen, but because they refuse to listen and apply it. Let me give a word that's really important for everybody to understand. When we're talking about algorithms, assassination algorithms, and the AI, artificial intelligence, I call it antichrist intelligence. Cryptocracy, I'm reading this, is a compound of crypto, meaning secret, and crazy, meaning crazy cryptocracy, meaning rule, government, governing body. The cryptocracy, then, is a secret government whose identity and whereabouts have slowly and reluctantly been hinted at by the Congress through the investigation into Watergate, the CIA, and the rest of the intelligence community. The cryptocracy invades, listen to this, the privacy of citizens and corporations. It meddles often violently in the internal politics of foreign countries and has hired, trained, and equipped mind-controlled assassins for the murder of heads of state, including JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King Jr., etc. The story within the story I discovered is an astonishing one of a psychological war waged by the U.S. cryptocracy against the American people. And that was stated by Walter Ballard, Operation Mind Control, 1978. So here's what we have right now. We have men already giving their power. Power can be authority, it can be finances. Obviously, money is powerful. But giving their money and power under the image of the beast, this AI God. One of the major news sites about the people that are in this world believe that they can create a God who can fulfill all of the requirements that they've detailed, in a lineal fashion, and basically quit worshiping the God of heaven and how do I say this, totally avoid any mention of Christianity, and yet the AI, Antichrist intelligence, is what's luring them all to their eternal fate. They have all the money, all the power in the world, but Jesus said to them, what does it profit a man, basically to gain the world and lose his soul? Because they don't get it. But we are right now experiencing the Nazi takeover of America, the rise of the social media Gestapo, and I still maintain, Doug, and I don't change my statement whatsoever, that the empire beneath the ice, the Nazis that fled Nazi Germany, went to Antarctica, New Schwabenland, and all of the funds, the technology, and everything they had advanced that they'd gotten through, quote, the spirit world and gotten through esoteric means, that they are literally still behind the scenes running the world. And what should astound everybody is a couple days ago when the, if you will, some sort of projectile, the Air Force denied it. It went over Greenland, over our top secret military base there, which is called the Thule, Thule base. Well, Hitler believed in Ultima Thule, or the great frozen, if you will, civilization that had superior powers and prowess in all dimensions. But what was interesting that they clocked this thing at Mach 74, which quick and dirty is like 51,000 miles per hour. And one of the spokesmen said, well, at least we knew it wasn't the Russians because we're still here. Well, what I don't think people understand is this. The tie between Greenland and Antarctica is really a tie that I don't believe most people have made. And I think that when events like this take place, and this is relevant to what we're talking about, the secret control of the world doesn't lie in the puppets of power. It lies with the Prince of Darkness and his fallen angels who pull the strings of the puppets of the world. Steve, and again, just because I know you've been on the radio and your voice, and when you look at this in the larger sense, you've got what's visible. And what's happened in the past couple of years, the tearing down of statues, the revision of history, the expunging of our culture and our heritage in the name of
well, because it's offensive and it's racist or whatever. So all of this, in addition to what you say at the higher level, fits together. So what people can relate to, by seeing the statues of the Confederate soldiers and the flags and all of this, the objectionable material, this is to change our history. And it's amazing to me how many of our young children today don't know history. And it's frightening because if we don't know history, obviously, it's the by the way, Steve, too, the current, I don't know how to say this, but the contemporaneous, I suppose, changing of history through edits in Wikipedia, for example. And how quickly.
You mean Wikipedia?
Wikipedia. There you go. I mean, see, it's interesting because people rely on Wikipedia as their online encyclopedia, but don't realize that it can be edited and the facts can be changed. And
even Wikipedia says it's not a reliable source of information.
Yeah. So, but there it is. So it's all tying together, and it's all coming together right now. You're right.
Well, again, one of the things that the Illuminists understand, the most powerful thing in the universe is that which God created, free will. There are people that will argue about free will, but free will is absolutely a foundational principle of both the Old Testament and the New Testament. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall be, you'll eat the fat of the land, okay, in the Old Testament, And Jesus said, if you love me, obey me. But obedience to God is something that they've got to take away God, the God. And look, I know a lot of ancient history, okay? That's my passion. That's my hunger. That's the trying to keep relevant to a nation that forgot God. Just as Pharaoh, Joseph, when he was Pharaoh in Egypt until he passed away, then there grew up a generation that knew not Joseph. And that generation treated the Hebrews very, very badly, and obviously until God let them out. But even when God's people cry out to him, and God intervenes, there still needs to be a response. So I got to tell you something. We are literally in, how do I say, we're now in a place where everything that can be shaken is being shaken, and I call it the lullaby of madness, okay? When I remember my grandmother used to rock me when I was a little kid, and I have good memories, and sing a song to me on her porch in Iron River, Michigan, okay? By the way, Greg Evenson lived in Stambo, Michigan, for part of his time in there. And so the point is that a lullaby is something that's to be soothing. Now you have virtual lullabies. You have mind control. You have electronic mind control bombardment. And I'll tell you this, I personally will not be in a 5G network. If that's the only way I can be on the internet, mark my words, I'm gone. Because 5G is going to be the ultimate electronic net of total control over your DNA, over your thought processes, over your ability, your biorhythm, your circadian heart rhythm, and they are going to take over. And isn't it interesting? I call that the pentagram. When they are going to give you a 5G, okay, and let's just call it what it is, a electronic pentagonal prism, then I don't want to be in that. And Doug, we're already seeing all the health ramifications of not only Wi-Fi, but every form of smart meter, every deleterious effect. And I guess at the end of the day, how do you make the case? How do we make the case that, ladies and gentlemen, this is about your life, what you have left here, depending on your age, but more importantly, it's about your children. Are you really willing to basically sacrifice them on the altar of indifference, or, they'll have to work it out for themselves? They don't have the opportunity to work it out for themselves as you do, because that opportunity has been taken away from them.
That's right. Yeah, and I agree with you on 5G. I just don't know how it would become possible, by the way, to circumvent or not not be a part of that? Because is that not the generation of wireless that will replace what's currently going? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm asking.
Well, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that if you have to have a router 5G, I'm not going with the router 5G, okay?
Right, okay.
I mean, I know what I'm saying. I have to stand my ground. So maybe that's what the Lord meant when he said, when I was asking him, Lord, do I get off the air? When do I get off the air? And he said, you won't have to worry about that. Decision will be made for you. And Doug, I think that was very astute on your part to bring that up.
Well, and that could apply in any number of ways. That decision, of course, could be made for you by way of the 5G that you're talking about, or, as we're seeing today, by way of the fact that we will not be permitted as conservatives, as Christians, to be on the air and to share our ideology. That's right.
Well, yeah, and the night comes when no man can work. Excuse me, was Jesus giving us a red letter warning? That means his own words, that we will not be able to work.